Statement by the Niger Delta Rescue Movement. We, the Niger Delta Rescue Movement, wish to express our deep concern regarding the recent development in Rivers State that threaten the smooth governance of our beloved state under the leadership of come to our attention that certain individuals, self-proclaimed as lawmakers, have issued an unfounded 48 hours ultimatum to the governor to present 2025 state budget. This blatant attempt to destabilize the state is not only alarming but also a clear indication of a coordinated effort to incite chaos, potentially leading to call for a state of emergency and even impeachment. We call on President Bola Tinubu to intervene immediately and put a stop to the action of the FCT Minister, Yeso Wike, and his associates, who seem intent on dragging Rivers State into an avoidable crisis. The people of Rivers State desire stability, progress, and a conducive environment for governance. Furthermore, we must make it abundantly clear that the youth of Rivers State will not sit idly while our state is drawn into tumult. If the federal allocation due to Rivers State are not released promptly, we will have no choice but to take it decisively action.
That this kind of thing will happen with what was going on, with the back and forth in Rivers State. How do you react to these threats?
The reality is that when the Supreme Court made that pronouncement,
yes,
that they had authorized the CBN to stop paying monies to Rivers State government, to most of us who observed the situation, it was not only unconstitutional, it was ultra-virus, and it was a step towards anarchy.
You think so?
Definitely. I mean, I don't know under what frame of mind the judges or the justice of the Supreme Court were acting when they made such pronouncements that are very weighty, that have no backing in law. And I mean, I'm very emphatic because
they give their reason.
This Supreme Court has severally, right from the election material cases, been acting in manners that make people wonder what school of law did these characters go to. And I'm saying that with all seriousness. Because when you deprive a component state of all its funding, a state pays salaries, a state has pensioners, a state has, in fact, life revolves around the state. And the Supreme Court there says that the CBN should withhold all funds from Rivers State. It was clearly a call for anarchy. And I had initially, even until now, I still believe that what the government should have done was say, okay, if you don't want us to get money from CBN, then what Rivers State should do is to stop payments of anything to the federal government and by itself begin to sell its resources, whatever it has, to make sure that the people of Rivers State do not die. Because this is a life or death matter. The Supreme Court should have won a cap of reasoning and adapted, be more pragmatic towards resolving this issue. Because the issue in question is just the issue of the members of the House who had actually lost their seat. Because Section 109, subsection 1G of the Nigerian Constitution is very, very clear, explicitly clear, on what happens to any member of the State House of Assembly who decamps from the party that elected him and goes to another party, particularly if that party is not does not have a faction. And as at the time, these 27 members announced their defection from the PDP and were celebrating themselves that they had now left the PDP and were in APC. There was no faction. So automatically, on that day, the 27 of them ceased. They stopped becoming members of the Rivers House of Assembly.
But the Supreme Court said there was no evidence to prove otherwise.
No, they can say whatever they like. But Nigerians saw these characters celebrating. They saw them announce their withdrawal from the decampment from the PDP, and the videos are there. So the Supreme Court can say whatever it wants to say. Nigerians are not stupid.
Are you saying the Supreme Court were
No,
induced with the judgment? Whatever,
that is their business. I don't know what they're saying, but I'm telling you what Nigerians know. what we saw, the videos are available, that these 27 characters decamped from the PDP to another party. At that time they decamped, nothing else has to be added or done. They have lost their seat. If there is only 1 or 2 members of the Rivers House of Assembly remaining, that remainder becomes the House of Assembly until INEC conducts elections to fill those seats. And INEC has not done any elections. And the Supreme Court now has ordered the state government to read the budget before non-members of the House. Let me say this clearly. When they leave office, when they make that decampment, nothing has to be done. You don't have to declare a party for them or whatever. They have left office immediately. That is the law. I mean, I don't know why it's difficult for this particularly Supreme Court to understand the Nigerian Constitution. This was exactly what they did during the election tribunals, when they couldn't even understand what AND means. When they failed to realize that somebody who had paid fines for drug-related offenses cannot contest an election, and they keep on circumventing the law. So it's quite unfortunate. And what is going to happen in Rivers State you don't need to be a rocket scientist to be able to understand that when you deprive a state of funds to even pay salaries, to fuel vehicles, there is bound to be reactions. And that is the reactions. And now you even see from the utterances of these so-called 27 characters, when they give ultimatums to the sitting governor, they give ultimatums to whoever. I mean, they don't even act in a legislative manner because they know they're not legislators. So the reality is that in Rivers State, if the federal government is not very careful, Rivers State can be the beginning of something bigger. In the First Republic, it was the Operation Wet here in the Southwest that precipitated a lot of crisis. Must we keep on going through this process? Must we keep on? Why? There could have been other means of resolving this issue in Rivers State than for the kind of pronouncement that the Supreme Court made. And up till date, I think it was just today that the CTCs came out.
Yesterday.
Good.
Yesterday.
But already people were already beginning to act based on judgment that without a certified true copy of the judgment. So I mean, I hope the leaders of the judiciary are able to call themselves to order.
Well, the Supreme Court, based on the certified true copy, said that there is no iota or shred of evidence to prove that the 27 lawmakers defected from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. So if Fubara's legal team could not or if that video is not strong enough evidence, what other evidence was needed to be legitimate, to be considered legitimate, to indicate that they indeed defected? No,
the fact is that the matter before the Supreme Court was not the legitimacy or otherwise of the decampment. That was not the issue. The Supreme Court was deciding on other issues. So the fact remains.
No, the Supreme Court reserved judgment on either they defected or not. That was when we got before the first one was the fact that he must represent the budgets based on the High Court ruling initially to a properly constituted Rivers State House of Assembly.
Esther, listen. The Supreme Court was not having before it that case of deciding if there was a defection or not. And I'm telling you that the reality is that Nigerians saw the defection. Nigerians observed it. Nigerians witnessed it. We saw these men flying flags of their party, of the new party, and that they were going to meet their master in Abuja. So you don't have to tell stories. I mean, we should not make the law appear to be an ass.
Okay, could it be Fubara's legal team? Because according to what the Supreme Court, Fubara had accused the 27 lawmakers of defecting, but later voluntarily withdrew the allegations at the Federal High Court, and so no defection had taken place, and the Assembly must continue as it was. It's a fault from Fubara, who withdrew it earlier, which is based on the Supreme Court's ruling.
That's why I say, from the section of the Constitution I just read to you, nothing extra has to be done. Fubara can do nothing to stop that defection that has already taken place. Even the so-called arrangements at a peace meeting which the president Asiwaju Tinubu organized between Wike's faction and Fubara in Aso Rock is nonsensical, because these men have defected, and the Constitution does not say after defection they can. Once they defect, the only way to refill their seats is if INEC conducts another election, and no election has been conducted. So whatever peace moves that were made in Aso Rock, whatever things that were signed, whatever documents of peace overtures amount to nonsense, because the Constitution does not allow for that. once you have defected, and the language is very, very clear. Nigerians should have their constitution. Section 109, subsection 1, sub G is very, very clear. Once you defect from the party upon which you were elected to another party, and there was no division or fraction in that your initial party, you have lost your seat. I mean, you can't be more clear than that. So nothing except if they win elections again can bring those 27 men back to the house. So whatever, if Fubara likes, let him go and swear affidavit. That's not an election. If Asijuwaju likes, let him organize a meeting and let them swear an oath that they're coming back to the house. That is not an election. We should take our constitution serious, for goodness sake. Otherwise, we can throw it to the garbage bin and then anybody does what he likes in this country.